1998, a movie came out, directed by Brenda Chapman, Steve Hickner, and Simon Wells, starring Val Kilmer, Ray Fiennes, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Sandra Bullock. That movie was an animated film called The Prince of Egypt. And on that movie, there were a lot of animators. It was produced by DreamWorks Animation. And anytime...
Those people... I had no idea those people were in that movie.
I know, me neither. But during the production of this movie, there was an animator who told this author in this book, through the New York Times articles, that it was known as the Gulag. One animator told author Nicole Laporte, if you failed on Prince of Egypt, you were sent to the dungeons to work on Shrek. Employees called it being Shreked. Welcome to the Macaw Podcast universe. We're talking about the Shrek franchise.
Rumor confirmed. What's your source?
The New York Times.
Oh, wow.
So that is a true story. And I've been waiting all day to intro the podcast like that.
Is Prince of Egypt still good?
I mean, I remember thinking that movie's amazing. I can't imagine it's not good.
Yeah. I don't know anyone that doesn't like it.
It seems great. Should we do some Prince of Egypt talk or
no?
I think it's a good one.
I don't remember much of that movie.
Yeah.
Other than watching it at Grace.
Too bad they didn't make a sequel. 40 years. And then finally The Promised Land.
Yeah.
That'd have been fun.
40 years probably wouldn't have been.
So, like we said, this is the start of a brand new series. If it's your first time jumping in, thank you for listening.
Welcome to Shrek.
Yeah. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe. All that jazz.
Hopefully you recently rewatched this movie.
Yes.
Like we did.
And what did you think you were going to think going into the movie on a rewatch? Because, of course, you saw it as a kid.
That there were no redeeming qualities.
Yeah.
Like none.
I thought a similar thing.
Besides like one donkey joke.
Yeah. I thought that it was going to be like I was embarrassed that I even liked this movie.
I didn't feel that. I also was wondering if I would still like it because of the nostalgia. Because as a kid, really, really liked Shrek to the point where I definitely had toys.
Okay.
Shrek toys. I think you had a gingerbread man, smelled like gingerbread. I think I had a donkey thing. Maybe something else. I can't remember like at what capacity, like if someone gave it to me for a birthday or if it was like a Happy Meal thing.
Well, they did do a Burger King campaign.
Or Burger King. So
it was probably a
I
Burger
don't
King.
know at what capacity I had these things, but
I bet you it was Burger King.
Maybe. But I remember I really liked it as a kid. It was a big Martinez kid flick.
For everybody?
Well, I mean, for the kids. I don't know about my parents.
I bet your mom likes it.
Yeah, my mom likes a lot of movies, though.
Yeah.
She's easy to please.
Yeah, so I thought of the same thing. I loved it as a kid as well, and I was excited to do the series because I thought it was going to be us just tearing apart every movie.
Yeah.
And it would be fun to listen to us just be like, ugh.
Yeah.
Another one. Newsflash though, the movie freaking holds up. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
but we'll get into that later.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump right in here.
Okay.
The movie is directed by two people, Andrew Adamson and Vicky Jensen. Andrew Adamson goes on to direct Shrek 2.
As well as Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian.
Yeah.
Cirque du Soleil movie.
Yes, I saw that.
Worlds Away.
Worlds Away. I think that had a theatrical release. So, and then Vicky Jensen directed Shark Tale.
Yeah.
It's produced by Aaron Warner, John H. Williams, Jeffrey Katzenberg, and it's written by Ted Elliott, who also wrote Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh.
Terry Rossio, who also wrote Pirates of the Caribbean, and I think they wrote multiple.
For like a writing team?
I think so, yeah. Because, yeah, they had the same credits, so I'm assuming yes. Joe Stillman, who did Gulliver's Travels.
The
Jack Black movie. Roger S.H. Schulman, who did Shrek. So
cool.
And this is something I did not know until we pulled this up. This is based on a book. Did you know that?
Not until you told me.
It's like a kid's book called Shrek with an exclamation point. Yeah, and it's written by William Steig.
And why did he write it?
Oh, I don't
know. Is there I
thought
sometimes
you
there's fun
had
backstories behind why the author wrote a children's book. Like, oh, I wrote it like he wrote it for his children,
right?
For this reason, or
I didn't come across that.
There might not be anything.
Yeah.
Did he illustrate it?
Oh, crud! You're asking me two questions.
Is it like a picture children's book?
I think so.
I gotta look up pictures.
I just wrote. Well, yeah. Work on that while I say. So it was published in 1990, and here's a couple of differences between the two. Shrek can breathe fire.
What?
Parents force him to leave home, and he meets a witch who says a donkey. He meets a witch who says a donkey.
Look at this.
What?
That's
the one and only Shrek.
No, look at the picture.
Oh, look this up, folks. It's bad. It's like it actually, I think,
looks like his kids drew it.
Yeah, he's ugly as they come. Wow. So yeah, Shrek can breathe fire. His parents force him to leave home, and he meets a witch who says a donkey is going to take him to a knight to conquer and marry an even uglier person than him, and that is the princess. Did you just burp too? Uh-oh, we're double burped already. Well, actually, you know what goes really well with burping? The franchise Shrek, about a really gross guy who burps and farts a lot.
Good point.
Music's by Harry Gregson Williams.
What a bummer.
Wait, is it by two people? Did I write this note wrong? I think the music is by two people, unless his name is this long. Hang on a second. Did you find out if he illustrated it or not?
Oh, no.
Oh yeah, so it's the music is by Harry Gregson Williams and then also John Powell. And then John Powell did The Martian, The Town, and Prince of Persia.
Wait, William Steig wrote it?
He wrote the book, yeah.
He also illustrated it.
He did? Okay. I would hope so. I hope he didn't hire an illustrator for that.
Believable.
And then it's a DreamWorks distributed and produced film. And so, do you want to hit the actors?
Well, didn't you mention Steven Spielberg was going to do it?
Well, so he wasn't. I don't think he was ever going to do it, but DreamWorks is his company.
Yeah.
So when they got the rights to it, he initially sought to do a traditional animated film in '91, and that was going to have Bill Murray as Shrek and Steve Martin as Donkey.
Interesting.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of a similar
I also
pairing
can't really
in a lot of ways.
imagine it because...
it's kind of iconic, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he that's what he initially wanted to do. A couple others that were up for it.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage offered role.
That would have been so interesting.
But he didn't want to look like an ogre, so he didn't take it.
Very wise choice on his part because he's already so attractive and charismatic and
yeah.
Okay.
Well, and actually, I'll save the next one because it's more on the production side of things than it is just an what if scenario.
I thought we were doing the production side of things.
Oh well, did you want to do actors or do you want me to just keep going through the production?
I can do actors.
Yeah, hit the actors.
So you have Mike Myers who ends up being Shrek the ogre. Mm-hmm. Before this, he's had some pretty classic, notable comedies that he was in. First one being Wayne's World in 1992. And then So I Married an Axe Murderer, Wayne's World 2, 1993. I've not seen the Axe Murderer one, have you?
No, but who has talked to us about that movie? I feel like there's...
I mean, it's a pretty popular movie.
The Phelps.
Oh, okay.
Renee and Alan say that's a pretty funny one.
Then you have Austin Powers in 1997, and then the second Austin Powers in 1999.
Okay.
And then Shrek.
Oh, okay. So it's just like hit.
So he's pretty...
Hit. He's unstoppable at this point.
Yeah. Eddie Murphy, more unstoppable, I would say.
Really?
SNL. Well, also I skipped over when Mike Myers was in SNL.
Oh, yeah.
But Eddie Murphy, SNL 1980 to 84. And then in 1984, Beverly Hills Cop comes out.
Huge.
Funny movie, which has Mike from Breaking Bad in it.
Does it?
He's the bad guy.
Jonathan Banks?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure because when I watched Beverly Hills Cop, I was watching Breaking Bad.
That I did not know that.
I'm pretty sure it's him. Actually,
I think I saw. Well, I'll look it up while you keep going.
And then The Golden Child in 1986, and then Beverly Hills Cop 2, 1998, Beverly Hills Cop 3, 1994, Vampire in Brooklyn, 1995, which looks just about good enough to be a bad movie night movie.
Oh, he's definitely in it.
Cool. Did you hear me?
I saw another bald guy, and I was like, oh, you're wrong, but no, it's not him.
We need to watch Vampire in Brooklyn.
Vampire in Brooklyn, okay.
The poster was just not great. Really bad.
I'll look it up while you keep going.
And then Nutty Professor, 1996, which is a very iconic movie for him.
Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, but like when I was a kid, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Because, oh wait. No, sorry. I love Dr. Dolittle.
Oh.
I did see Nutty Professor.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This Vampire in Brooklyn.
Can I see it?
Oh my gosh. It's like a sepia toned. It has the city of Brooklyn, a moon, and then Eddie Murphy looking directly into the camera like he's up to no good, and then Angela Bassett just
what's the tagline?
Waiting to get into like his arms.
Is there a tagline on the poster?
A comic tale of horror and seduction.
Sold.
That looks rough.
So Dr. Dolittle and Mulan were both in 1998. And
yeah, Mulan.
Yeah.
He's Didgeridoo, the Dragon Boy.
Neither of those names are correct. He's
not Didgeridoo or Do.
He is.
Yeah. Michi,
I'm looking it up.
Mishi?
So Dr. Dolittle / Mulan. So when I was a kid, my favorite actors were Eddie Murphy and Jim Carrey.
That makes so much sense.
Big reason. Oops. Sorry, I just really gotta know. But Mushu, you're right. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially Dr. Dolittle was funny. Also, I loved animals so much as a kid, and I just
guess what?
borderline prayed to God that I would wake up being able to talk to animals.
Yeah,
because I thought that was like the greatest gift God could give someone.
Yeah,
and then I love Mulan because he's super funny in Mulan, and then he's great in SNL and stuff. Love Eddie
He's
Murphy.
very funny. He is very funny.
Yeah.
I wonder if he'll ever have a comeback.
I know.
Because he's definitely, like, his career has gone down.
It's been interesting.
Yeah. I mean, maybe next year when Shrek 5 comes out, he'll have a recovery. Yeah.
So then in 1999 is the movie Bowfinger, which I was telling Micah previously as I was looking this stuff up. Very funny movie. Recommend it to people. I haven't seen it in a really long time. And I've only seen it on TV, but it's a great Steve Martin movie. And you have Eddie Murphy in it, and it's so funny.
Yeah,
we should get it. And
that would be a fun one.
And then Nutty Professor 2 in 2000, and then Shrek.
Okay.
And then you have Cameron Diaz, who I never thought I would look at her IMDb page, but here we are today. Sucks.
Yeah, Jordan's not a big fan of.
But what is interesting is her first acting credit ever is The Mask with Jim Carrey.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which is insane because she's one of the leads.
So there was no like TV shows or anything? That was it. Huh. She must have been from stage or something?
I need to look her up further because that is just like so fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And then in 1997, so that was 1994. 1997, she was in My Best Friend's Wedding. And then 1998, I guess she's in
She was in Your Best Friend's Wedding?
No. She's in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, I guess.
Okay.
Haven't gotten past 10 minutes to know that.
Isn't that kind of isn't that movie kind of like a like a Terrence Malick movie where there's just a ton of people in it and they're in it for 2 or 3 minutes?
Probably.
And stuff?
Like I said, I have not gotten past 10 minutes in that movie.
Right, that's true.
So I feel like yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was weird. Obviously, it's weird That's the whole point of the movie. The book's good. I've read the book. And then same year, there's Something About Mary, which I've never seen, but I know it's a very famous movie.
It's a pretty funny movie.
And then Being John Malkovich is 1999.
She's in that movie.
Yeah.
She's one of the stars. Yeah.
Yeah. And then she's in Charlie's Angels in 2000.
Wow.
And then Shrek.
Okay. So she's pretty relevant. So far they have a very relevant
She's
cast.
like I mean like household name. To me Cameron Diaz is very much 90s, early 2000s to me.
Yeah. Well, with that haircut, I mean, come on.
Sure. I don't know what her haircut was. She's blonde.
She looks 90s. Let's put it that way.
Sure. Yeah, okay. I'll give you that. And then John Lithgow, who plays Lord Farquaad.
He plays Fargo.
He's got so many acting credits. It's insane.
Yeah.
So I just pulled he's in that Twilight Zone remake, the 20,000 Feet one.
Yeah, Terror at 20,000 feet. The Twilight Zone movie with the 4 different segments.
And that one I remember watching, and that one scared me.
Yeah.
Because have you seen it?
I've seen the Shatner one.
Okay, so
I've seen the original and then the Terror at 30,000 with Adam Scott.
Okay, I think this one he believes he sees a colonial man on the wing. It probably is the same as the William Shatner one.
In the William Shatner one, he sees a monster.
Okay, I think I've seen that one too. Because
that one is crazy.
I see the face of the monster in mind, and that really scared me too.
It is so scary.
I've seen that one. I've definitely seen this one though. Because
every time you're on a night flight, you just think maybe.
And isn't the creature wet?
I think he's really
sticky?
hairy.
Hairy and sticky though.
I don't remember that, but
but the John Lithgow one's really scary too, from what I remember. But also it's a really good one. And then he's the Reverend in Footloose. He is the one who bans dancing.
Crazy.
In 1983.
Crazy that I've never seen Footloose.
We should watch sometime.
We should.
It's just a class. It's an American classic. I was just kind of okay, I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's also great Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Role. And then The Manhattan Project, 1986. Harry and the Hendersons, 1987. That's when the family adopts the Sasquatch.
For the macaws.
It's insane. It looks so crazy. And then
Harry and the Hendersons is insane? What do you mean?
Remember we watched the first the intro to that movie?
Oh yeah, and it was so long, and it wasn't.
Well, also it was just crazy.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah, that was a repeater at the.
That's funny.
That was because there was the switch from VHS to DVD, and that was a movie where my dad was like, "Oh my gosh, kids, we found Harry and the Hendersons on DVD, so we can keep watching it." And it was oh my gosh. And then I went to my Aunt Robin's house, the one that we didn't stay in, but the one down below when they still lived there. And I was like, oh my gosh, my dad just got this. I think I was in 6th grade at the time or so. And I was staying the night at their house, and I put it in, and then a little bit into it, I turned to her and I was like, I guess I remember it just being funnier and better.
No way.
And it was kind of weird because it was the first time I realized that my opinion would change on something.
On Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah, and it just cracked her up. She talked about it for years afterward.
Oh, really?
How I would bring that up.
That movie's just one of those movies where the makeup of the Sasquatch guy to me as a kid would probably scare me.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be able to enjoy the movie. That's why it's crazy to me.
Oh man,
it's one of those 80s movies that are for children that's actually creepy.
Which is all 80s movies for children.
And then for John Lithgow in 2000, he was Don Quixote.
Oh, okay.
Which we watched in Senior Chavez's
I remember liking
class.
that movie.
Yeah. I remember being really funny.
Yeah.
And then he also, same year, he's in Rugrats in Paris.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I saw that in theaters.
I think
this is a little bit of story time. I think my dad went with me, and he just went to sleep right away. And after the movie, I was kind of like, why? How? I think I woke him up a couple of times, and it was like, why are you sleeping? And he's just kind of like,
I'm doing this for you.
Yeah. But it was kind of weird thinking someone would go to the movies and sleep.
Have you seen Rugrats All Grown Up?
I believe so, yeah.
Just, did you know that Rugrats was Rugrats and Little Bear? For me, and for the Martinez kids, those were
Little Bear or Brother Bear?
I think it's What's Brother Bear?
Brother Bear's the cartoon with the two bears.
It's not Disney.
I don't think it's Disney.
But Rugrats was one of our favorite shows.
Yeah, we were a big fan. Did you see the episode with the watermelon?
Oh, that scared me.
Yeah,
as a kid.
Yeah, I always thought when I ate watermelon seeds they were gonna grow.
No, Little Bear.
Little Bear.
That was my favorite show too.
I know about that one.
Oh, it was so good. It's woodland creatures talking.
Oh, okay.
That's for you, Richard. So, love it. Anyway, we can stop talking about our childhood TV shows. I could go on forever about that.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any more people?
No.
Or were those your mains? Okay. By the way, John Lithgow as Lord Farquaad. This is the first time I've watched the movie knowing who he is.
Me too.
Of course, I knew him from Harry and the Hendersons, but I didn't realize, I never put two and two together. And, man, what a good casting.
Yeah, I agree.
He is so good.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a great voice. But, okay, so the movie comes out May 18th, 2001. It had a budget of $60 million. Domestically, it makes $267,665,011.
Holy crap.
Worldwide, the movie makes $484,744,207. In short, a hit. So
crazy.
Chris Farley, the fat guy in a little coat, he was hired and did almost all of the dialogue for the movie. And then he died. So
really?
Then they were like, well, we're gonna recast, and so they had
out of respect.
I don't know. I would think probably a little bit
that's
of
sad. I wonder what it would have been like.
Yeah. So Mike Myers insisted on a complete rewrite to get rid of all of the Farley affectations and all of that stuff.
Oh.
And so.
Man, his story always makes me sad.
Yeah.
There's a good documentary on him.
Is there?
That I saw once on TV with my dad.
When done recording, he asked to re-record. So Mike Myers did all the recording.
Yeah.
And then he asked if he could re-record it and try it in a Scottish accent.
Oh, he just did Mike Myers, just his normal voice?
I guess. And then that's what we got. So pretty.
I prefer it this way.
Yeah, I think, and I think I read something about this rumor that he had this huge payday and he was paid so much money to do it, and he kind of came out and said, "No, I wasn't paid extra. I did that because I really liked what was going on, and I wanted to try something else. I didn't do it so I could get paid more money."
Oh,
he's like, I still got paid the same amount.
Yeah.
Which is kind of respectable. He believed in it, you know. And then there is this actress, Jane Ann Garofalo. I don't know who this is, but someone will probably laugh when listening to this. Probably no, I don't. Probably Mike will listen to this and be like, "Come on, Micah, you should know who this is."
Because I think I know who you're talking about.
But she was fired from the project for voicing Fiona, and
I don't know who you're talking
years
about.
later, Garofalo stated, "I was never told why I was fired. I assume because I sound like a man sometimes. I don't know why. Nobody told me. But, the movie didn't do anything, so who cares?"
Ooh.
So,
she's got some beef with Shrek.
Whoa. Yeah, she's got some big beef with Shrek. And then I didn't get into the specifics, but they had a lot of trouble animating the donkey's fur. And that was one huge thing that took them a long time to figure out. That makes so much
sense.
Yeah. And this wins the first ever Best Animated Feature at the Oscars. And
it beat Monsters, Inc.
It beat Monsters,
which is insane.
Inc.
And I will say right now, Shrek, this rewatch of Shrek, haven't seen it since I was a kid. I'm just simply, it was a delight.
It really was.
But it's still not even, it doesn't even touch Monsters, Inc. It has none of the emotional draw either of Monsters, Inc.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I think there's something to be said for, I don't remember. I haven't seen Monsters Inc. in a long time, and I haven't side-by-sided them, but I'm pretty sure the animation in Monsters Inc. is way better.
Yeah.
I mean, they figured out how to do fur.
Yeah.
For that movie. And
Well, it sounds like they did too for Shrek. But I understand.
Well,
I understand.
but
what you're saying. I know,
when you
I know.
look at Donkey, it doesn't look.
Well,
He doesn't.
Donkey
look very
compared
good.
to Sully.
It's not great.
Yeah, it's like apples and oranges.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's just so crazy to me.
Yeah, I can't really believe that.
I think Monsters Inc. is my favorite Pixar movie.
Really?
Yeah. I'm gonna make that call right now.
That's over all of the Toy Story movies?
Yeah.
That's bonko.
I really
Although it's amazing, so it's fine.
Yeah, I really liked Toy Story as a kid, of course. Toy Story 2, I've watched so many times.
Toy Story 2, love it.
But Monsters Inc., there's just something about, I don't know, I think just like the toy aspect was really fun. Mm-hmm. Like toys coming to life. But this, to me as a kid, was just like, they created things that don't exist. Yeah. And brought them to life. Also, I really like the story. And I really like the Toy Story stories too. Mm-hmm. But like, it's just, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
And it's not like not like an easy pick.
No. You're picking the best of the best. For me, it's got to be a Toy Story. I don't know which one.
Yeah.
It's got to be a Toy Story. And then maybe a close second is Coco.
Yeah, Coco's great.
Coco's so good. And every time I watch it,
Coco does make me cry.
And it's always kind of better each time.
It's funny. Do we own Monsters, Inc.?
No.
Oh, we should buy it. 2, I am like sure that if I watched that movie right now, I would be bawling like a baby
when he leaves.
Yeah, I'm tearing up thinking about it.
I would lose it. Yeah.
I shouldn't think about it too much. Okay, let's talk about Shrek though.
Let's talk about Shrek.
So a movie opens
with the storybook.
What do you hear?
No, not yet.
Yeah, it opens with the storybook.
And this is setting up the cleverness of the movie. And I think this is why the movie still holds up. Is you see this hand that's flipping through a storybook and it's talking about a princess being locked in a tower. And then right away, the thesis of the movie, a page is ripped out and you hear Shrek go, like, that'll ever happen. And then you hear like a toilet flush and he walks out of an outhouse and he clearly used the book to wipe his butt.
Yeah.
And then you hear down, 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 down. Somebody once told me the world was gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
That's right, folks. It's Smash Mouth.
Smash Mouth with their best song ever.
Yes. This movie is... I think I said after we finished watching it, this movie probably sold so many CDs of the soundtrack.
Yeah. Oh,
because it was hit after hit after hit of the 2001. And I burped again, just like Shrek would.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've seen a movie with more montages, but it's as if they had all these songs they wanted to use, and it's like, just throw in another montage so we can use this song.
Yeah.
Which really, it really, really dates the movie like crazy.
But there is something to where like if, for example, when the 5th movie comes out next year, if it started and that song played, you'd just be like, that's Shrek's anthem right there. It'd be like a fist pumper moment. I
just realized that I think we owned that Smash Mouth album.
Probably.
Because of Shrek. Maybe we own the Shrek soundtrack, though.
I mean, it was popular.
Yeah.
So right away, they established that this is a gross guy. He's like showering in mud.
But he's not a guy. He's an ogre. So
he's
what does he look
ogre.
like?
He's green. He's got these cup ears. Well, I don't need to describe him. Everyone and their mother has seen Shrek. And he's farting in mud and it's killing fish.
Uh-huh.
He's squirting like slug paste onto his teeth. And this sequence, if watching it now, I think as a kid, it's really funny. As an adult, it's like, oh,
yeah,
it's
gross.
So gross.
It was pretty dang gross.
And that's when I was thinking, okay, this movie is going to be just as bad as I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, I thought so too.
It doesn't get there.
I keep burping, sorry.
I know, me too.
But you learn about him. Ogres are nasty things.
Mm-hmm.
And while that montage, the opening, well, I guess the title sequence is going through.
Yeah.
You also see that there are some village people who are coming, an angry mob with pitchforks and torches to kick him out of his swamp. Then you learn very quickly that he is a very scary, intimidating monster. And that's why people don't want him. but they're too afraid to actually do anything about it. And the only thing that Shrek wants is to be left alone.
Yeah.
Because there's no one else like him. No one likes him. So he just wants to be alone.
He's accepted his loneliness.
He has. And he seems to be content with it.
But we'll find out later. Maybe he's not so content with that loneliness.
Maybe he's just compromised.
Yeah. And then we see in another part of the town that they're selling
fairy tales to like Lord Farquaad or something like that. What was the reason for it again? Is it just to get rid of them? Because
I think they're just outlawing them.
Yeah, which is a pretty interesting idea, I think.
Yeah,
like a cool little premise, because it's that scene where all of the people are bringing in their fairy tales to sell them, and the funniest one to me is when Giuseppe brings Pinocchio.
Yeah,
and he's like, he's a puppet, and he's like, I'm not a puppet, I'm a real boy, and his nose grows immediately, and they take him away, and I think that's so funny to me. And Giuseppe looks exactly like the Disney Giuseppe,
right,
which is really funny. And I feel like a lot of this is like a lot of what they're making fun of, funny enough, are Disney movies,
right?
And a lot of the Disney movies take them from old folklore.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why they can get away with it.
Well, that's because it's in public domain, so they can make their own version of those
they end
things.
up just like kind of making them look like the Disney movie.
Yeah.
To kind of like poop on their face.
Yeah.
Which is
and then that's the whole idea.
Yeah.
Right from the beginning, seeing the storybook and being like, this is the opposite of those stories.
Yes.
This is not Disney.
Yes.
This is a little bit twisted.
Yeah. Which is, I think it's so funny.
Yeah, I mean, it really, truly is a very clever concept on the whole thing.
I agree. Which I thought whatever the concept was gonna be so lame, and like lazy. That's what I was expecting. And right off the bat, I was like, "That's an interesting idea."
Yeah.
So then
it's been like 8 years since I've seen it, so it really is like watching. Probably like 10 years since I've seen it. It's really like watching a new movie.
It was for me too.
Yeah.
And it is like, for a movie that's 2001, animation's not a huge thing yet.
Mm-hmm.
This type of animation. It was pretty impressive. It was much more, I thought it was going to be like straight up ugly.
Yeah.
I will say though, I don't like the humans. I think the humans look wrong.
Is it like the Uncanny Valley kind of thing?
But it's like they look too human.
Yeah, so there's this concept in creating like CG characters, especially, that the Uncanny Valley is like when a character looks too human, but it's slightly off.
That's
and when you look at it, it like disturbs you. It's like the Polar Express look.
Yeah.
Or like the
Polar
Tintin.
Express does not bother me.
Yeah.
I like that animation. Yeah. This one is like, they do accentuate, because they do accentuate certain features and make things look bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And the like bodies are disproportionate, but the faces are proportionate.
Yeah.
And it's unsettling to me.
See, I didn't find it as unsettling in this movie. I found it a little more unsettling in the second movie.
In the second movie, it was a little bit less bothering.
That's funny. So we flip-flopped.
Because I think that they made it a little bit... Well, I think the animation got better, so it just looked a little bit better.
Yeah.
I still do not prefer it. I wish that they looked different in general. So that's like the only thing that I really don't like, because I know it could be different.
Mm-hmm.
All the other stuff is like, this is 2001. This actually looks pretty dang good.
I do want to comment on some of it though as we go along.
Yeah. But then we meet Donkey.
Yeah, and the
talking donkey.
You hear Eddie Murphy. It's a good casting choice. It really is.
He's very funny.
And I thought that I was just going to be so annoyed by him, but it's pretty funny stuff. He's
hilarious.
The movie just kind of works. It's
Mike
almost
Myers
like
and Eddie are a good duo.
I know. I wonder if they ever have done like anything live together, because it'd be kind of funny.
Probably.
Oh yeah. It'd be funny if there was like a cameo in a movie where they showed it, like in a Austin Powers movie or something like that. I don't know. It's just an idea. It's free. You can take it, Hollywood.
Okay.
Then the ogre boy, we're talking Shrek, he's trying to figure something out, and he meets up with the donkey. And Donkey and him
when the angry mob comes to kick him out of his swamp, he sees a flyer that says like spanning fairy tales.
Oh, that's
so
right.
I think he just goes and says and is like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And then he meets Donkey. Donkey starts following him.
He's being annoying as all get out. And this is where I wrote that the lighting, when it's high, when the lighting is really high
like
and
high
bright.
up, like the sun.
I'm sorry. When it's bright,
okay,
the animation really looks bad.
Yeah.
If it's a little bit on the darker side, it looks okay.
Which is typically the whole thing with animation, right?
I think so.
Isn't it like the lighter it is, the harder it is to animate, or like the worse it looks? Because I remember you told me in The Hobbit, the reason why the white orc looks so bad, other than the obvious fact that he's animated, is he's white. I thought you told me this.
Oh, I think this is a theory I have about it. I don't think this is like a fact about animation.
Well, it makes sense to me. Like white is because there is less depth and shadow.
Yeah,
it looks faker.
Yes. Yeah.
So
when
you told me that
said
blew my mind.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's hard to, if it's a little darker, you can also cover up blemishes and stuff like that. So, yeah. So, and Donkey doesn't look super great in this whole movie.
No.
Yeah. He looks way better in the second movie.
I agree.
But they both do.
Yeah. Donkey, though, for being a like a normal, technically a normal thing, he has accentuated features and he doesn't look like straight up a donkey. Like he does.
Yeah.
But he looks more cartoony than like the humans do. The humans kind of just look like humans, you know? So I think obviously they do that because he's funny.
Yeah. Then Donkey is like, hey, can I stay with you? I want to hang. And so they go to the swamp, the ogre swamp.
And Shrek lets him stay for one night.
But he makes him stay outside. And there's funny jokes throughout all this. One of my favorite jokes in the whole movie, though, is when they come over the ridge and Donkey's like, oh man, what a crappy place. Like, who would ever live here? And then he's like, that's my place. And he goes, that's a nice boulder. That is a nice boulder.
And then I think I said that was a big Martinez laugh.
Oh, yeah. That was a big one.
Yeah.
And then this just has this is like etched in my brain when Shrek pulls out his earwax and makes a candle out of it when he's eating by himself. That's got to be up there on grossest things I've ever seen in movies.
I think I agree with you. So sorry, I keep coughing. I almost said ogre's trying to sleep. Shrek is eating dinner and he hears noises outside of his house and it's like Donkey's like, it's not me. And then quickly all these fairy tale creatures come into his house who have escaped from the humans.
Well, no, remember the humans put them all there.
Well, that's right. But it starts off with just a couple of them. Like Pinocchio,
like
three blind mice. The pigs, I think, maybe come in there. And he goes into his bedroom. His bed, and the wolf is there from Little Red Riding Hood. And that's one of my favorite jokes.
What?
He's reading a magazine, and he just looks up and he's like, what?
He's reading Pork Illustrated, and I
didn't even see that.
There's a pig in a bikini on the front cover.
I didn't even see that. That's even funnier. And it's funny because that joke keeps coming back.
Yeah, that he's
even
just sleeping in beds. Yeah.
Oh, so funny. And he's wearing that one. I think it might be the second movie.
It's the second movie. Oh, don't say it.
It's super funny.
It's a funny joke though.
But
yeah, all of this stuff is like really funny and really clever.
Yeah,
it's the right way to do spoofy stuff.
And they use
the seven dwarves with the Snow White being thrown on his table, and he's like, "What is happening?"
They use all of the like things that we know of the fairy tales and make jokes out of them. Like we said earlier, when the three bears from Goldilocks are in cages and the little bear's in a little cage, and he's like, "It's too small." That's like so funny. And then there was a really funny Three Pigs joke.
Well, yeah, they're like, Lord Farquaad sent us here. He huffed and he puffed, and then he gave us an eviction notice.
Yeah. It's so funny. There definitely is like
funny
humor in this one that are like they're for the parent jokes.
Yeah,
and I like did not get them as a kid. And there's a couple where it's like, oh, I kind of relate to that now. Yeah, that's funny.
Well, and that segues nicely into. I think the reason this movie was such a huge hit is because they decided to put like a pretty large amount of adult humor in the movie.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of like adult humor as inappropriate stuff in the movie,
Yeah.
but a lot of it is stuff about like real estate and just things that kids don't really get.
Like, yeah,
and
like
when
Shrek
you watch
makes...
it now as like a 25-year-old, those jokes are some of the funniest jokes in the movie.
Yes.
Like, he served us an eviction notice. That's pretty
Or
funny.
when they go to the castle where Fiona's locked away in and they're looking at it, and Shrek makes that joke where he's like, the location sucks, but look at that view or something. Or like, but look at the size of the place. And it was really, really funny.
Yeah. And then, there are some crazy stuff though, like, the Farquaad's name.
Yeah.
If you change the R, get rid of the R, and, the F-wad.
I think most listeners probably already know.
Yeah, I did not know that. I saw that like back in the day, like it was like a like a list, like 13 inappropriate jokes you didn't get as a kid in Shrek.
Is that like have you ever looked at one of those articles that's like, and look at all these Disney movies where the penis has been inserted into the background, and you're scrolling through it and you're like, no, that's the dumbest thing. It's so not true.
Yeah, there's that one about the Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
That when you look at that poster, it really looks like a penis. It's crazy.
Okay.
But
so maybe someone saw that.
Yeah,
and then they were like, oh, I'm gonna look in the background of all of these movies.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's a tall building, that's a penis.
Yeah. But I think with that one, they said it was like a disgruntled worker who did it, but it turned out that it just wound up the shape just being there or something. I don't know.
We don't have to talk about it.
I think you're joining us for penis talk. Right?
Wait, how many Little Mermaids are there?
There's like 3 or 4, but there's only one theatrical.
Oh, okay.
And I want us to do it, for the most part, like theatrically released movies. Okay. So then we get the intro to Lord Farquaad. Farquaad. And he's
interrogating
he's interrogating the gingerbread man. And this is the funniest joke in the movie, right? Where he's asking him questions and he goes, "Do you know?"
Well, it's not the gingerbread man, technically, right?
He's a gingerbread man.
No, but you're right. Sorry, I was thinking of the Muffin Man.
Continue
with what you're saying.
He does the whole like, the Muffin Man who lives on Drury Lane. Well, she's married to the Muffin Man.
Yeah,
and it's
so
just
funny.
the funniest thing. And then
it's kind of a long joke.
Yeah, and John Lithgow, that voice of his.
Yeah, he's got a great voice.
And so then the mirror comes in, the mirror on the wall, and he does the whole, who's the fairest kingdom of them all, and it says, well, it's not a kingdom because you don't have a queen, or you don't have a princess or something.
You need a princess to become a queen or king.
Yeah. and then
he turns into a dating show.
It's like a that Bob Barker show, The Price is Right kind of thing. Like, door number 1, you have this girl, and it's sleeping, or it's Snow White. Then there's Rapunzel, I think.
No, you have Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, and Fiona. Yep.
And then one of the funniest jokes on this that I missed as a kid is Lord Farquaad goes, okay, I want Fiona. I want to choose Fiona. And then he's like, all right, would you like to hear what happens after midnight? And he's like, no, it's fine. And he's like, are you sure you don't want to know what happens after midnight? And he's like, yeah, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
just that
funny.
idea of like the mirrors trying to let him know.
Yeah.
Great.
Pretty dang funny, the whole sequence.
And so during all of this, he penis joke about Farquaad's castle. What is that? What does that know?
It's when Shrek and Donkey go to Farquaad's fortress to talk to him about all of the fairy tales showing up at his swamp. And he sees the castle and he's like,
it's very tall.
He goes to Donkey and he's like, it almost makes you think he's compensating for something, huh?
Overcompensating
for something.
Yeah, and it's
and I think you and I were both like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's like we already talked about the adult stuff anyway. So they arrive at the castle, Donkey and Shrek, and then this is where it looks like one of those old video games. Like the set looks kind of like Minecrafty almost.
Yeah.
Like at the castle, like there's just not a lot of detail.
I kind of like that the castle is so bland, because I feel like in a way that was intentional. Because
I'm sure it was to save money.
What?
Just intentional to save money.
Well, that makes sense too. But also, like, Lord Farquaad isn't like that amazing or anything.
Yeah.
He just it's very corporate looking.
Yeah.
To me.
That's true.
So then they walk inside and it seems very like they're at an amusement park. Also, It's very quiet. No one's around. And they do this second joke that was, I know as a kid to me, was like, that's bad. And still today I'm kind of like, that makes me feel like that's kind of bad still, but it is funny. So then those kids are singing that song. And
and
they almost say ass.
Yeah, they say like
wipe our faces.
Yeah.
And I remember as a kid that made me feel so uncomfortable.
Yeah. But it was so funny at the same time.
Yeah.
And then at this time, we find out that Farquaad he's trying to find a challenger because he's too much of a coward to go find Fiona himself.
Because Fiona's locked in a tower
guarded by a dragon
in a volcano.
Yeah, and so when Shrek shows up, he fights all these guys, and then he's like, "Go find Fiona."
What's the song?
And I'll give you the deed. It's Bad Reputation by Joan Jett.
Yeah.
And it says the damn word in it, which is crazy. I didn't realize how, because the damn is in this movie, in that song, and then I think
Donkey says
it, and so, which, I mean,
I wonder if a song it's like not as like it's like overlooked and no one really like they're not gonna like make a note on it.
I think this movie's like kind of edgy for its time, and like,
well, it's a DreamWorks movie. It's not Pixar. It's naturally edgier.
It's just kind of funny. I didn't realize how edgy it was for its demographic, you know?
Yeah.
Then they head out to go rescue Fiona. And they do. And what do we want to talk about anything that happens there?
Well, they meet the dragon.
Yes.
And Donkey like he gets the dragon to show interest in him and kind of fall for him.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cute.
It is.
And really funny. And
Fiona's expecting this big romantic moment.
She's expecting to be kissed awake, to which Shrek just like nudges her awake.
Shakes her awake, yeah.
And the whole time she's like, who are you? You know, she's like already in love with him, which is the stereotype. It's like, you're my Prince Charming. I am devoting my life to you for saving me. And he's just like, whatever, lady, let's get out of here. And then they finally get out of there, and she's like, oh, let me see your face. I like want to know, like, I want to see the face who has saved me from this. And then she sees he's an ogre, and she's shocked because it's supposed to be a Prince Charming. That is what
it's supposed to be. Prince Charming.
Yes,
straight up Prince Charming, not a Prince Charming.
And that is also just like what fairy tales have told her. And it's cool because they're flipping. That's the whole. It's just like, yeah, we're not doing that this time.
Yeah.
So
and
but she's like, I'm gonna wait here until he gets here because you're not the right guy. And Shrek is just like, he just picks her up and he's like, nope, we're going.
Yeah. And then they're heading back to the castle, and this is when is this when like the bond between them starts kind of happening?
Yeah, you kind of see like she is a princess. She's very proper, upright, but she's also very like I think at one point Shrek burps and he's like embarrassed, and then she burps and it's like, she's
louder.
She's a little bit more of a tomboy than you might think she is. She's kind of cool.
And she sings so loud it blows up a bird and fries the eggs.
And then you know that she has this, you know, it's like almost sunset, and she's like, we need to go to sleep. We need to go somewhere. And she's so freaking out about it. And it's like, why though?
Yeah.
But she won't say.
And then we find out that Shrek's like, everyone just judges me, and so I just prefer to be alone. So you find out that he doesn't want to be alone. He just prefers it over the alternative.
And it's such a I like that whole message in it where Donkey's trying to get him to understand, like, but I like you and I want to be your friend.
Yeah.
Like, why can't you let me be your friend?
Yeah.
And he's a good friend like the whole time, because like that's really good too when they have that huge fight about it, and then Shrek is just kind of like, you know, he confides in everything, and then Donkey looks up at the stars and he's like, are there any donkey stars up there? And it just like goes right back to being a friendship, and it's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Robin Hood attacks him. They do a Matrix spoof, and she fights him like crazy. Mm-hmm. Shrek gets an arrow on his ass. And then we find out, gosh dang it, this Fiona gal, there's something strange about her. At midnight, she becomes a dang ogre.
That's at sunset. It's not midnight. When the sun goes
at
down.
Sunset, also known as midnight to Micah.
Oh, so it's way past midnight right now.
Yeah, it is. We find out she's an ogre, and then Donkey discovers her, and Shrek and Fiona, they've been getting real chummy. So Shrek's like, I'm gonna talk to her and tell her I like her.
Yes.
And then he overhears at just the wrong moment them talking about Fiona and her ogreness, but it sounds like they're talking about him. And so he's like, screw Fiona, I don't like her anymore. She's mean. Mm-hmm. And then Fiona gets up the next day and she's like, how come you're being so mean? And he goes, there's Farquaad right over there. You go home later with him. And then Farquaad comes up and he's wearing armor that's too big for him that they have to pull him out of because he's so short. And that's kind of funny.
It is a funny joke.
And this is where I wrote, Cameron Diaz's performance isn't great. It's just okay.
Part of the problem I have with her just in general is her voice. So
yeah,
it's kind of hard when that's the only thing she's using for a movie.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not bad. It's just I don't know. It didn't.
She's just like being. I don't know. Like what I'm about to say is you could even like she's just kind of like being her. Like she's just being like whatever she talks as. Yeah. When like Eddie Murphy's being Eddie Murphy, but he's like playing it up a little bit. Mm-hmm. She's just a little like normal to me.
Well, and it might be like the Mike Myers and Eddie Murphy, they're being themselves, but she doesn't have like that bombastic personality. She doesn't have that like iconic personality. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I could just be wrong. I mean, it's fine. I just it doesn't like blow me away or anything. It's not like the fairy godmother in Shrek 2.
No, not at all.
She kills it. Come on.
No.
So then they part ways, and she tries to get excited about marrying Farquaad, and she says, "Let's get married tonight." And Shrek goes home, and he's all upset, and he's
Donkey follows him the whole way, and
he's listening to Hallelujah on his stereo.
Well, no,
no,
we are though.
Yeah, it's not diegetic; it's non-diegetic. So he's listening to Hallelujah. Well, no, he's not. We are. And then Donkey finally convinces him, you got to break into the dang wedding, and you got to get that girl. Because she's an ogre just like you.
But he doesn't... Does he tell her him that?
I don't know.
Because he keeps saying, like, I can't do that. Because she told him not to.
Oh, yeah.
Because
yeah, he's saying, I have a secret.
Ironically, Fiona is very self-conscious of Shrek even knowing that she's an ogre. You know?
Yeah.
And then the dragon... Oh, during the Hallelujah montage sequence, Donkey reunites with the dragon. So the dragon takes Shrek and Donkey to the castle. And the vows are happening. And Shrek breaks in and objects right before they kiss.
Yeah.
And they have a really funny thing where all the people attending the wedding have cue cards that have been held by a soldier saying like reverent silence.
Yeah.
And then at one point he writes in "aw," and everyone says "aw."
Yeah.
And it's super funny. And then Fiona and Shrek are arguing, yada yada yada, about
it's like a classic romantic comedy.
Yeah.
They set aside their differences, and a dragon breaks in and eats the bad guy.
Yeah,
just like
run of the mill.
That's like 50 First Dates. It's like all the others.
More than anything, though, it's just like, oh, if you just would have been honest with the person, like if you just would have said the thing, this wouldn't have been a movie. But that's why the movie's interesting, because you have that tension.
Yeah, And I never really dig in movies when someone like overhears the wrong part of a conversation. Yeah, it's just kind of like it's fine. I think it's kind of lazy writing.
I think it's fine for Shrek because it's a children's movie.
Yeah.
I think
but I mean, in a critical lens, it's
Yeah.
like that to me is... I think because they don't drag it on for too long, it's okay.
Yeah.
But I hate in movies when they have the misunderstanding and it's like half hour of the characters apart and you're like, all you need to know is that the person actually meant to say this and you heard that.
Yeah. I agree with
That is so infuriating.
Yeah.
But in this movie, it's not too bad.
No. And then the dragon eats Lord Farquaad.
Mm-hmm.
And then Shrek, the whole thing too with Fiona, so she's cursed. Whenever the sunset happens, she becomes an ogre. This curse will be broken whoever she with a true love's kiss. So she's kissed by
Shrek.
the idea was if Farquaad kissed her, she would be a human for forever. But her and Shrek kiss, and she is now an ogre forever.
Yes,
and
she accepts who she is, although she technically is not an ogre from the start of her life, but she accepts the new identity of the ogre.
Yes.
And Shrek accepts who they are. He
well,
is.
it's like this is who I am on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
I like mud. I like bugs. I like pooping. I like peeing. I'm Fiona, the ogre.
Yeah, and then they live happily ever after?
They do get married.
And they live happily ever after?
What's that mean?
It means that there's a sequel and you gotta meet the parents and maybe you're not gonna live happily ever after. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's Shrek.
Yeah.
It's pretty darn good.
Yeah. I liked it.
I think that none of them will be as good as this one probably in this rewatch.
I can only speak to the second one.
Mm-hmm.
When we cover it. But yeah, the animation was, like I said, better than I thought in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But it is crazy once you see the second one, just how the landscape just looks so much better. This one, it's like you could count the number of trees in a shot. When usually it's like it's a forest, but this is like there's about 10 trees I'm looking at, and I'm supposed to believe this is a forest.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, I get what you're saying.
That being said, a lot of it looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
I was into it. I was fascinated by it.
Yeah, it's good.
I think that for animations though, so this one has more of that realistic animation. I mean, it's not close to Tintin or Polar Express because it's still cartoony. But I very much prefer the super cartoony animation.
Yeah.
The Pixar super cartoony. What's great about what Pixar has been, I mean, just what animation has been able to achieve in these last 20 years is everything has become much more texture. So in Coco's very cartoony in every way, but I feel like I can still touch everything and know what it feels like based on what I'm looking at. This for Shrek, it's a little too real looking for me in terms of landscape. I wish they kind of used the imagination a little bit more.
Yeah,
sure. The castle was really cool. The volcano stuff was really cool. Because I was very that's not a thing it's very creative.
Yeah.
So hopefully as these movies continue, it gets more creative in that way.
Yeah. And I think it will. So next week we're hitting up Shrek 2. We very much strongly encourage you to press a rate of 5 stars, no less, on
Please.
Apple. And we encourage you to write a review. It doesn't even have to be anything about the podcast.
Just what's your favorite movie?
What franchise should we cover?
What's your favorite franchise?
What do you like?
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Sure.
Thanks for listening. Next week, Shrek 2. It is the Shrekening, so let's get Shreked next week as well.